Welcome to Wind Down Wednesday. Here are your hosts, Jeffery Tobias Halter and Amanda Hammett.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. This episode is our 50th episode. Can you believe it? Woohoo! All right. So I'm super excited to be here for all 50 episodes, but especially for today. We're going to be talking with just Jeff and I about advocacy, inclusion, and the role that each of us has in driving change, because that's really what this podcast is all about. So my name is Amanda Hammett, and today Jeff will be embarrassed, but I am drinking a green drink. As I've been telling my husband, it's like salad in a cup. So, Jeff, happy 50th.
Wow. Boy, oh boy. That's just wrong on so many levels. I don't even know where to take that. I'm enjoying a beautiful Sauv Blanc from the Chateau St. Michel Winery in Washington. Actually, one of my former clients. And they make a great white wine. So,
yes.
Wow, 50 episodes. Have we made any progress? What's going on? Let's catch up.
Yeah, let's catch up. I mean, it's been a couple months, so
wow,
it's been a rough one.
Yeah, we're now coming up on. We've been doing this a year, literally a year post the end of COVID-1, I guess you could say. What is the new reality? And sadly, the themes are the same. You know, women are still burned out and leaving. Companies are still struggling with return to work plans. They don't have a clue. The recession doesn't seem to be going away, and yet there's 11 million job openings out there right now. Mm-hmm. And there are so many challenges around this new complexity of solving DE&I and what it looks like today. And so those are some of the things I'm going to be riffing about. What's on your mind today?
Really what's on my mind, it started over the summer because it became big news, but that quiet quitting thing, although I don't find that it's new news, but that's something that's front and center. And frankly, it ties in very well with everything that you're concerned about, because it's exactly what I'm seeing on my end, both generationally and for my younger women and my younger, people of color. And, this is something that we're struggling with across the board. So Jeffrey, before we go any further, you mentioned several challenges that are facing both individuals and organizations. So I'm curious, what are you actually hearing from clients in your conversations with them? What's top of mind for them these days?
Yeah, it's almost as if the complexity of the solution, whatever it is, has gotten so much more complex. It's return to work. It is the COVID opt-out. But what I'm finding as you talk to companies, things that never came up before, affordable childcare is starting to creep in. And, certainly when we launched this, intersectionality was important, that this isn't just women, it's all aspects of intersectionality, but that's not going away. And I think DEI professionals are not prepared to talk about this at all on a strategic level. I don't think they're included in the return to work plans. In other words, People are listening to the constituents. If that's why resource groups exist, to share their collective knowledge, I don't think companies are acknowledging that. And in the meantime, the market's in a recession and we have 11 million jobs that are going unfilled. And it doesn't matter. Pick an industry: food service, healthcare, IT, construction, supply chain. I think there are so many questions, and companies are just not prepared for the really complex solutions that it takes. And I think that really dovetails into what you were talking about just a minute ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is what I keep hearing over and over again is I'm ready for things to go back to the way they were. We need them to go back to the way they were. And I have to I want to shake people and say, that is not happening. The conversation has changed. We have moved past that. We have to adapt to the new economy, the new, all of the new forces that are coming at us externally within our organizations, whether it's the economy, whether it's the push for employees, whatever it is. As leaders, your job is to adapt to it. But I find so many are wanting to just say, just take me back. And it's just not going to happen. And I think it's a little frustrating for me, but for others in the DEI space, I would imagine, but also just leadership across the board. What do you think?
Oh, leaders are totally ill-prepared. And I loved your comment on, I want it to go back to normal, right? You're a change management specialist. This is change management, right? Resistance, wanting to go back. And then you get into depression, and then you get into despair. And we haven't bottomed and reached that day of reckoning to say, okay, we got to start doing things different. We are nowhere near that bottom. And it's funny, I hate to say this, 50 shows in, this is kind of depressing, Amanda. This was supposed to be a celebration show, but it is where it is. And I think that's why this work is so important. We've been talking about this for a year. I've been doing this work for 20 years. It's never been more important.
I couldn't agree more. And the only thing that gives me a little bit of solace in this is that the conversations are being had on a more mainstream level, whereas before, I think that DEI was more of a fluffy, we'll put you in the corner, we'll bring you out as kind of like a show pony every once in a while. But I feel like it's becoming more of a mainstream conversation, and I'm going to hand it to my millennials and my Gen Zs for forcing the conversation to be mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have to take a positive note on our 50th show, and it's a great time to reflect back on some of the amazing guests that we've had on in the last year. And I'm going to give you a moment to ponder. I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorite guests, and then tee up yours. For me, Caterina Rivera on Disability Pride Month and really ableness. I have been a DEI practitioner for 20 years, and this is still a topic I can't talk really effectively to. And she did such a great job. For our listeners, please go back and listen to that episode. Mm-hmm. And then Sumi Kim talking about it's not enough to be quietly anti-racist. For me, those were such powerful, talking about things we really don't talk about. We tend to talk about women or people of color. I loved those two topics. What about you?
So I heartily agree with both of those choices. They would be up in my top 5. Brad and David that we had on. Brad Johnson and David Smith.
And they will say this, 2 of the most average white men names you can possibly come up with, and yet they're amazing allies.
They are amazing allies. Our conversation that we had with them was just amazing. So much fun, but so much came out of it. And it's really work that needs to be done. I mean, just every white guy needs to sit down and listen to that episode. And they're going to be on other shows with us and in the future, and even more things to share. So I have to call those 2 out. Samantha Quillen, I feel like she gives a lot of very practical guidance, just in the moment, this is what you do. This is how you handle it, which is something that I think that DEI needs more of. There's a lot of talk up here in theory, but, action taking. But yeah, those would be my 2 that are immediately popping up, and just, Menda Harts.
Yep.
Menda Harts. I just go there. I just can't say enough. But I look forward to talking to her some more to see what she continues to do.
So we're out of time. We didn't mean to depress you, but we did want to tee up some amazing episodes of actions that you can take back in your organization around creating better conversations around diversity, equity, and inclusion, allyship. And so, Amanda, I'm going to have you lift your glass of green stuff, and here's cheers to 50 episodes.
To 50. Thanks again for joining us for Wind Down Wednesdays. a contemporary midweek discussion on current workplace and marketplace issues with a focus on diversity, inclusion, intersectionality, and equality. I'm Amanda Hammett, and on behalf of myself and Jeffery Tobias Halter, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us for Wind Down Wednesday. If you like this episode, please subscribe to receive more episodes straight to your inbox.